I was also going to point there's also a socioeconomic aspect of this as well. And
let's talk about
we've got this one link up. You don't have to put it up right now, Chris, but I'll just read it out here real quick. Single women who earn $47,000 or over $47,000 a year abort 32% of their babies. Okay. Okay. So single women making $11,670 a year or less abort 8.6% of their babies. So those are some facts. Like there's a socio.
So one more time for people, so like that's actually very like.
Yeah, I got the other stats.
Run that back one more time because I don't know if the people caught what you just said just there.
Okay, and again, this is from the Brookings Institute. Single women who earn $47,000 a year or more abort 32% of their babies. Okay.
1/3.
Single women making $11,670 a year or less, which is like the poverty line. Okay.
Way below poverty.
Yes, so way below poverty line, abort 8.6% of their babies.
Wow.
So that is a qualifiable difference right there. And I don't think you need emotional arguments to win this debate. As far as like, what should we do? What's the best practices essentially is what really, that's why we have the Constitution. What's the best practices? This is the Constitution. These are the best practices. This is how we're going to organize society and run the country. Right. Okay, great. How do we come to that? Well, we've got to have facts. We got figures. We got to figure things out. We live in a time right now. We have unprecedented access to stats just like this.
Yeah.
Like a schmuck like me can actually figure out that, what those stats are there. But what that says to me is there's a socioeconomic factor that goes into abortions as well. A very strong one.
I mean, you're looking at someone. So I want you guys to put this in perspective. A woman that essentially makes $47K a year, which is like right around what an average man makes, by the way. Okay. So that's above average for a woman.
Independent.
Her chances of aborting a baby is basically 1/3. Okay, versus someone who is poor, 90% chance they're going to get pregnant. So
why do you think that is? Why do you think that richer women will tend to abort their children?
Here's my speculation. Going off to school, making money, they have to push that clock back, and they have to go ahead and focus on their career. And a lot of women know deep down having a child is going to hurt your ability to be able to advance your career, etc. So I would argue, I guarantee you, if you put like a woman that's at the 70K, 80K, 90K, 100K, 150K, more, whatever. The more education and the more money they make, the higher the likelihood that they're aborting children.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The other factor I've got, like, you can't just take one data set and just say, okay, here it is. You have to correlate these data sets together. So the other thing, and I've mentioned this on this show several times, the rise of the she economy, where we have like Morgan Stanley is projecting that by 2030, women between the prime working demographic ages 25 to 44, I believe is what it is. It's 45. I think it's 45% of women in the prime working age are going to be single and childless by the time they get to when they're in that demographic by 2030 right now. Now, why is that? Right. We have Elon Musk, who has been talking and talking and talking. This was in our notes, actually. We were talking about this on Thursday. Elon Musk has been talking about the declining fertility rates. Now he owns like Twitter, so he can say whatever the hell he wants to on Twitter. But like, so what does he start with? Declining fertility rates, which is kind of ironic because on this show in May, I used him as an example of one of these companies that's saying, don't worry, ladies, we got your back. If you want to have an abortion and you happen to live in a non-abortion state, we're going to give you a stipend as part of your benefits package to cross state lines, go get an abortion, flush the kid, come back here and come back to work. Now, of course, the way I sort of framed that is that that's a business decision. That's because it costs them less to give you $4,000 to cross state lines than it does for them to give you pregnancy leave and to hire somebody else and do it's probably a whole lot more than $4,000, right? So it's in their best interests for them to give you that stipend or that benefit, ladies. And then how many women are going to actually go and do something like that?
And something else. And sorry,
that's okay. I was just going to say that. So that's the socioeconomic reasons for that. But the thing is to listen now. That's Tesla is doing that, right? Starbucks is doing that. Disney is doing that. Morgan Stanley is doing that too. A lot of big major multinational corporations, Amazon, are doing that. They offered that before this even happened. Months before this even happened, they were already saying, well, if it goes back to the States, almost like they knew it was going to go back to the States.
They knew it was going to happen.
No, we would talk about Alex Jones. There you go. But now here we are, but also, we have Elon Musk talking about declining fertility rates right at this same time. And it's like, okay, well, if you're going to talk and say, well, you know, we need to have more babies, I'm exempt from that because all I do is breed. That's all he does. But if you're going to talk about declining fertility rates and then at the same time talk out of the other side of your face where you're like, okay, but don't worry, ladies, we're going to give you an abortion stipend to cross state lines. To me, that sounds a little bit, you know, that's some cognitive dissonance going on right there.
So the other thing I wanted to say as well, and I'm really glad that you mentioned that stat where if a woman makes, basically if she's in poverty, the likelihood of her having an abortion goes way lower versus a woman that earns more money. I mean, hell, $47K per year, and it's a 1/3 chance of her aborting a baby.
I have a graph for that, by the way.
Yeah. Oh, let's pull it up real quick. Can we show that real quick?
Show me
Chris,
that one.
The so
it's the bar graph that's in there, Chris.
Yeah, because I think with the people, if they can visually see it, and it'll add a little bit more credence to what I'm about to say here in a second.
It's funny because all these independent boss babes that have all the money that they can exercise to like have abortions and stuff like that, they don't want kids early on, so they're gonna, like you said, postpone it. However, at the same time, it's like, okay, when they make bad choices, they can correct it. Versus if someone's poor, they can only make those choices to like correct. So
yeah,
scroll down a little bit there. I think it's down toward the bottom. Keep going. It's underneath. Let me see where I have it in the stack. No, keep going down. No, keep going.
We got a lot of graphs.
Yeah, I got a lot of data. I come with a lot. I come prepared. You will always. I always do my homework. Keep going down. Almost there. Next one after that.
Oh, sorry. There we go.
You're right there. Keep going. No, not well. That's a good. That one right there. Put that one up right
let's
there.
share this on screen.
Okay, so that's it right there.
Okay, so enlarge it on my end real quick, Chris.
Yep.
On our end.
Okay, so
all right, so it goes here. Abortion rates by income group. Bam. So there you go, guys. You can see it.
that's from that same study where I was just reading you a minute
from
ago.
Brookings.
Okay, so as you can see, the more money they make, the higher the likelihood that an abortion, is going to be conducted.
So let me explain those bars for you real quick. Percentage of single pregnant women age 15 to 44 who had an abortion in the year prior to this survey. Okay. So if you're looking at the income level as percent of the federal poverty line, which is why we were using the poverty line there, you can see where the percentages are. The 8.6%. That's the stat that I was just looking at for what is it? The 8.6 that, or no, is the 11,760 that figure, and then the top one there, as you can see at the end, the 400% right there. That is what accounts for most of the abortions in this country, and
that's
it
only
is
at
at 47K or above.
That's the scary part.
Yes.
That's for someone that's only making $47,000 per year. So, like I said before, from this data, you can pretty much extrapolate that the more money you make, right? Typically, higher earners, what do? They work more.
Yes,
and if you work more, you're going to have less time for children.
You're a better employee.
Yes.
Your multinational corporations want you barren.
Yes.
They want you to be infertile.
So for you to make more money, we know a component of success is more time, more diligence, etc., which does what? Goes against your ability to be a mother. So the more money you make, the lower. I mean, how many single women have we brought here that are career women that don't have kids? Okay.
A lot.
And I'll tell you guys this, I just know from being in college and dealing with women that are educated, etc. I've dated plenty of women that have higher end degrees, etc. A lot of women in the professional world, as you guys know, I used to work in the government. They are all either on birth control or have had abortions in the past. Okay. It is what it is because to chase their career. Yeah. A couple. And it's very common, guys, in educated women. But if you look at girls that are, don't have as much money, maybe not educated, whatever.
Yeah.
They're those are the single moms a lot of the time.
I hate to say this, but that's very true.
Yeah.
The single moms you see today, most of them are broke. Yeah. Uneducated. And as a result, they can't really.
Chris, can you go to the next slide that's above that one?
And before we go to the next slide, I just want to say this too, because this is really important data. Because a lot of a lot of people were saying, hey, well, Roe v. Wade being overturned, this is going to hurt the poor women the most. This is fucked up, etc. Yes, it is going to affect women that are, of a lower socioeconomic status, but we already know from the data anyway that they have kids regardless. It doesn't fucking matter. So the women that actually make the money can still travel interstate to go ahead and get an abortion if they wanted, okay? Yeah. Because you guys got to remember that Roe v. Wade being overturned does not impede a woman's ability to travel to a state that allows abortion. And keep in mind, guys, that half the United States, is still going to allow women to get abortions. We know Massachusetts is one of them, New York, California, pretty much if it's a blue state, they're going to still allow abortions, okay? You got some of these states here that are kind of in the purple range, like Florida, may or may not, ban it or whatever it may be. But if your state does ban it and you have money, you can travel, and or you could take a plan B or whatever else, because emergency contraceptives still haven't been banned.
When people say this is going to affect the dating market in a bad way, I just say, look, they will find ways to get around it. Like you said before, they could travel out of state, either maybe a different country if they wanted to, or for example, they could even do plan Bs, birth control. So it is what it is, bro.
Yeah,
they'll find a way,
because this is going to affect the poor women. But my argument is that the poor women are having the kids anyway, and you guys just saw it literally illustrated in the graph. You know, the lower of associate. I mean, think about it. A lot of you
get more benefits if you're a mother, a single mother, and you're below the poverty line than you do if you're a woman.
Kids. They do. Like there's women that actually have multiple kids, because guess what? You get government funding, you get food stamps. It's like you can actually survive off of having kids.
Have benefits.
So it makes sense for poor women to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And a lot of them do it.
Chris, we can pull that one back up again real quick. This is the Agency for Healthcare and Administration. This is, I believe, this is out of Florida as well. The reason why I keep using Florida, these are 2021 stats. Okay, so this is current year stuff. These are the reasons reported induced terminations of pregnancy by trimester as well, which is interesting. Elective abortion, you can see that is the lion's share of the reasons for abortions. Now, abortion performed due to social or economic reasons, still elective.
Chris, can you hit Control Plus a few times to make it larger for the audience?
Yeah, sure.
So they can
bring it up a little bit,
and open it on our side, and then also larger, and then a larger for the audience too.
Yeah, there you go. Perfect. All right, and so then you've also got performed due to emotional, psychological health of the mother. Still elective. Abortion performed due to a life-endangering physical condition. Now, this is where we start losing, we start tapering off. We got 119 of those during the year of 2021, okay? Then you got abortions performed due to serious fetal genetic defect, deformity, or abnormality. This is usually when it's a danger to the pregnancy is a danger to the mother, okay? So you see that spike up a little bit right there. Then you've got abortion performed due to incest. What does that number say there? 8 of all of
Chris,
those.
Can you enlarge it a little bit more?
Of 80,000, of almost 80,000 abortions performed, 8 of them were performed due to incest. Now, we also have abortion performed due to rape. Of almost 80,000 last year, 118. Okay. So I'm not saying it doesn't happen. It does happen, but it happens at such a low rate that you can't, all we're doing is looking at this at rape and incest, because if you say those words, women lose their minds.
Yeah, you get that.
Okay? If you go and
you triggered immediately,
how dare you? Exactly.
You will incite an emotional response that will drive them to a certain type
of these reasons, due to rape, due to incest, or serious fetal genetic defect, right? Okay, so danger to the mother. Of those, you're actually looking at under 1,000 of the 80,000 were performed, or close to 80,000 that were performed last year.
Yeah.
So you're at
this is the state of Florida, guys.
Fraction of 1% for all of those.
Damn.
And you can reasonably say that many other states are going to be similar to this, maybe like not the same kind of numbers, because Florida does have a fairly large population.
I also want to point out that there are, like, Florida is one of the few states that is allowed to ask you what reason you have. Most states won't allow you, because here's the thing. What's funny to me is we are supposed to have this federal right to an abortion, yet state by state, you're not allowed, don't have a right to collect the information as to why you had that abortion.
Hold up.
States' rights. So states' rights for when you're reporting reasons, federal right to actually have it. That's the difference.
Damn.
How about this? What if we did this? What if we said, okay, ladies, guess what? We're going to write, you're going to have a right to a healthy, safe abortion into the Constitution, but we have to have every state, because it's a federal mandate now, we have to record why it is that why you had the abortion.
Damn.
Do you think they would go for that? Probably not.
They want,
because they don't want to give you the reason.
The right without the responsibility.
Anonymous effect of it.
They want the right and the responsibility, because to be honest with you, like, it's not personally identifiable information. So it's like, yo, you're just simply putting in your number, statistic, whatever. It's not like people are ever going to know who you are, whatever. But this is a perfect example of wanting the benefits without necessarily paying the cost from the said benefits. If you want it to be federally backed, well, guess what? That comes at a cost, baby. You got to be able to go ahead and report on the numbers, and you're going to be anonymous. It's not like anything's going to happen. You're going to, you can go ahead and fill out one of these sheets or whatever where you don't put your name or anything. You're just going to say, this is why I did it, etc. Done. Boom.
Yeah. You don't have to give your social security card. You want an abortion, you have to fill out.
Can you imagine? Form. Oh, I'm here for an abortion. Why is that? Oh, I had a one-night stand. Oh, he told me that he loved me. It's like, bro, maybe stupid reasons like that.
You don't even have to get that detailed. You could just say, I'm just doing it because I'm electing to do it.
Yeah.
There's no danger to me or the
yeah.
pregnancy. That's
simply
that's all it would have to say.
And that's powerful data right there, because that shows you guys, because the thing is that, and going back to what you were saying earlier, which I thought was perfectly put, the left is going to make an emotional argument saying, yo, this is taking away from women's rights. And then the right is also going to make an emotional argument where you're taking someone's life.
And nothing gets done.
Both of them are emotional arguments. But when you look at the objective fact right now, because, you know, not to beat up on the left here a little bit, but they're going to go ahead and make the argument, yo, we need to be able to allow women to get abortion because chicks are out here getting raped and incest and all this other stuff, and they need to be able to abort that child. Well, we just showed you guys that that's like an extremely small minutia of the data. So it's not as prevalent as they tell you. And what else isn't as prevalent as they tell you?
So what can we glean
Rape
from
culture
this?
as well.
Yeah.
We debunked that as well. This is more female feminist propaganda. Sorry.
So I was gonna say, what can we glean from this information? Like, we know we have the data. Okay. I just work here. Okay. I just give you the stats. Okay. But how do we interpret the stats here? Okay. So we don't want to get too political. We don't want to get too moralistic or anything like that. But we still have this pile of forensic data that's sitting in front of us. So how do we connect the dots that go along with this? Okay. The only conclusion that I can come to as being the rational male and talking about what I've been talking about for 20 years now is that there's one function to abortion. It is a fail-safe for bad reproductive choices. That's what it is. Here it is, black and white. I don't make the rules. I don't make the stats, ladies. You do. So what does this say? What does this say about the function, the latent purpose of abortion? It's not about, oh, a woman's right to choose and blah, blah, blah. And you don't have a uterus, so you don't get a seat at the table, gentlemen. So it's men trying to control women's bodies. No, you've been controlling your bodies, and here's the stats to show what you're doing with your bodies.
Yeah.
So the only conclusions that I can come to is that the purpose, the function of abortion, it is the ultimate statement. It's the last statement in hypergamy, and it is a fail-safe for bad reproductive choices. You want choices? I want to protect women's right to choose. Okay, what are you choosing? Well, we see what you're choosing right here.
Yeah.
What does that say about you? What does it say about the society? What does it say where we're going forward from turning all this back to the states?
And it's very interesting too, because if anything, abortion has made things equal between the two genders.
Yes.
And this might be a little bit of a controversial take for me to say this, but last time I checked, for the past 50 years, women have had universal control over who gets born and who doesn't. Now they don't. They're in the same powerless position as who? Men. So now they can't necessarily go ahead and terminate a pregnancy if the guy wants to go ahead and have the child, because we know a man might want to have a child and a woman doesn't. She says, fuck you, and goes and has an abortion anyway. Now she can't necessarily do that. Now she's basically equal to the very man who was allegedly oppressing her under the patriarchy. This is equality, baby. Again, I'm not rooting for Roe v. Wade being overturned or anything, because my personal take on it is nothing is really going to change. Ta-da! No, because all the feds basically did, guys. Okay, because a lot of people are taking this Roe v. Wade and fucking blowing it out of proportion. The feds basically said, "Yo, this ain't our fucking problem no more. Representatives, do your fucking jobs. You guys go ahead and deal with this shit at the state level. We don't want to be dealing with this shit no more. We got other stuff to worry about. God damn it."